Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So I hope everyone had a great Christmas. So I did take a couple of days off of training for Christmas to spend some time with family and also give my body a bit of a rest because we've been really grinding our bodies through pre-season, really working on our fitness and going at it for a few weeks now. So it's good to give your body a little bit of a rest to rejuvenate. Plus our first game is a week from tomorrow, so we're very excited for that. Hopefully all of this hard work is going to pay off and we're going to have a great start to the season. We've got team training tonight, but I just wanted to come out and get a few extra touches on the ball, just because when you take a couple of days off, it's good to burn off that Christmas turkey. But I'm actually training at a very special place today. So those of you who have watched my story and know my whole journey will know that I came out to the US in 2011 on a scholarship to a university out here, and I'm training at that university today. So I'm at Roberts Wesleyan College. Let me give you a little spin around. This is where the gym is, where we did our strength training. This is our training pitch. Then over there, don't know if you can see, but that's our home stadium. But yeah, very nostalgic to be back here. I was here for 4 years, not only playing, but I was studying as well. So I got my degree here, but it was an amazing 4 years. I'm gonna show you the stadium in a minute, but we've got some work to do first. Also, I wanted to share something with you guys that I've been working on very hard, quietly behind the scenes. I got a brand new training program coming out in early 2019. So those who got Maestro, this is basically the next step now. So the Maestro program was all about ball mastery, learning to use the ball with all the different surface areas of the foot, developing your coordination. Now we're developing that tight control when dribbling at speed. So you've got that control now, you've learned to master the ball, now we're going to put it into motion. So it's a good follow-on from Maestro. So if you already got Maestro, this is going to be a great new challenge for you. Dribbling with tight control is something that I've worked very hard at for years. So I've basically compiled all of the drills that have helped me to develop that and put it into one program for you guys. So hopefully you'll be excited for that. And what a way to start 2019. So if you're looking to make this a big year for you in your football career, trying to take things to the next level, make sure you stay tuned for that. There will be an announcement coming very, very soon. So without further ado, I need to get into my training session, and then I'm gonna give you a little bit of a stadium tour of my old pitch. So let's go. So I thought I'd give you guys a bit of a break from the techno music and just give you a voiceover to explain all the things that I'm doing. So I'm starting off the session with some activation exercises. I'm using one of these resistance bands. I'd fully recommend getting one of these that really not only prevents injury, but can actually boost your performance to really activate those glutes, those hamstrings, those quads, get them all fired up before your session. And there's a bunch of exercises you can do without the band that still give you a good activation. And if you want to see a few of those, I can also share those in a future video. So let me know in the comment section below if you want to see some activation exercises you can do without a band. After I've gone through a few of those, just going into a warm-up. So just running between two lines just to warm up the body, get the blood flowing. And then after a while, once I've done a few of those, get into some dynamic stretches. Also changing up the directions as well, so getting some backwards runs in, getting some side to side, also some diagonals, trying to cover all the different angles that you're probably going to face during the training session, during a match. So I like to spend a good 5 to 10 minutes on my warm-up. It's very important for preventing injuries, and again, this also improves your performance as well. If you go into a training session or a match, you're not fully warmed up, not only are you going to probably pull a hamstring, but your performance isn't going to be at its full potential either. I really can't stress how important your warm-up is. You got to treat your warm-up like it's a part of your training session. Don't treat it as something mundane that you only do sometimes if you're feeling up to it. Literally treat it as an important component of your training sessions. Dedicate a certain amount of time. Make sure you're covering all the different muscle groups that you would be using during a match: quads, hamstrings, groins, calves, etc. Then once I've done a sufficient warm-up, and then move into a technical warm-up, so involving the ball a little bit here. And all I'm doing for this one is juggling the ball, trying to travel the full width of the pitch there and back, keeping the ball in the air without letting it touch the ground. So on my first set of going out there and back, I'm using my right foot. Then once I've returned to the start, do it again with my left foot. It's just a good way to focus on your touch a little bit. It's a little bit different, a little bit more challenging than just juggling on the spot, because you're having to actually direct the ball out in front of you, make sure you're dealing with the spin, and also while moving at the same time. So a pretty tough one. Give this one a try. It's okay if you drop it. Don't feel like you have to start right back at the beginning again. Just start juggling the ball from where you've dropped it and continue again. Then I go out with the left foot. You guys get the idea by now. So I'm going there and back, just working on both feet. Then once I've finished this small little juggling exercise, I move into the first of my main drills here. So you guys might have seen this one. I did this in my challenge a few weeks ago, my juggling challenge. So what we've done is we set up 3 boxes at the top of the 18. We're starting in the middle box, we're juggling the ball, kicking it up in the air so it lands in one of the outside squares. Then we do the exact same thing back to the middle, and then we go back out to the other side and return to the middle, and then we're finishing with a volley on goal. And we're trying to keep the ball up the entire time, so we're not letting it drop. Again, it's working on that touch. So this really is a good advancement from that little warm-up that we did when we juggled from the width of the pitch. Now we're challenging ourselves even more, putting a bit more height on those juggles. It's a good type of control to adjust to, because you sometimes receive these kind of balls in a match, especially if the goalkeeper's punting it out. And if you can control it from a good height, you'll find the lower heights even less difficult. So it's a good one to work on. And it's a bit of fun as well. Obviously, you're not going to be juggling the ball around often during a game, but it's a good way to just warm up your technique, and finishing with a shot on goal is always good as well. I really enjoyed this one. If you want to see the actual layout of this drill, if you want to know how to set it up, I'll put a link on the screen right now, which will take you over to the challenge. I see a couple of you have been trying it and you've tagged me in it on social media. It's great to see. So if you do want to actually try this one out, make sure you check out that video that I just put a link on the screen to, and it'll tell you how you can post it on social media so that I'll see it and then I will feature it at some point. So I like to go through this 4 times. And that's just a good way to warm up my touch a little bit. Then I start to move on into something a bit more dynamic now. This is the speed challenge that I set for you guys a couple of weeks ago as well. I'll put a link on the screen if you want to learn how to set this one up. But this is a great one for working on a bit of speed and also some tight control with the ball at your feet. So as you can see, I'm working on both left and right foot, trying to keep the ball close to those cones when I'm going around the corner. Then when we get back to the start, trying to finish into those corners again. So the first challenge worked on touch. This challenge is working more on your speed and your dribbling. So covering a few different components in this session, but just making it a bit more enjoyable. So I like to set up these drills as often as possible. Just adds a different element to your training, setting yourself challenges. And if you can time these drills, it also gives you something to compete against as well. You always want to be competing against yourself. It's a good way to track improvements. So go through this drill again 4 times. And then we move into a final speed test. But this is a great one. I really like the different elements of it. Here's one final angle of it. So you're just sprinting from the top of the 18 to the 6 yard to collect the ball. Going out to one side around that cone, trying to keep it as tight to that cone as possible. Make sure you're using the left and right foot as well. Don't do it all with your dominant foot. It's good to be comfortable on both sides. And then finishing with a shot on goal. Then once I've completed 4 sets of that, I move on into the final speed test here. It's slightly different. This one's the Ronaldo speed test. You would have seen me doing this one on my channel before if you've been following for a while. But it just adds a bit more of a tight dribbling element to it. So you're starting just below the penalty spot, sprinting up to the top of the D to collect the ball, and then you're doing a configuration of each side of the 18-yard box through the cones. So you've got to keep that ball tight. So it's a sprint without the ball, collecting it, trying to keep it as tight to those cones as possible, using the left and right foot, going from one side of the 18-yard box to the other, back to the top, and then you return to the box which we started in, again, trying to find those corners. I really like this drill. It really works on that tight control of the ball running at top speed. So it's a really good one. I'd recommend trying all these. I just do 4 sets of this one. So in total, after the warm-up with the major drills, we're doing 4 sets of each. So 12 intense reps in total, and that's the end of the session. Alright, so I'm just going to give you a quick show around where I played for 4 years of my life. It obviously doesn't look in its season quality right now because they're not in season, it's winter. They get done in like early November, and there's been snow on this for weeks and it's only just melted, so it's obviously not being cut or rolled or anything like that, but usually it's in very, very, very good condition. But we're gonna head over there. It's funny because when I come on this track, this running track, I get like a pit in my stomach because the only time the coach ever brought us over to this track is when we're doing a fitness test, and they were always brutal. It was like we had to do a mile in 5 minutes or under. You feel like you want to throw up. So our locker room is actually under the stadium. So this is the stand. On the other side of this is all those seats, and our locker room's underneath it, and it's also got a weight room as well. So if you see around this corner, there's like a big door, they got a weight room under there and it's really nice. They only put this in my last 2 years. So my first 2 years, we'd have to go in that big building where I said the weight room was before. We'd have to walk over to the stadium when we have our matches. But it was so nice when we could get just changed underneath and walk straight out onto the pitch. Then what we would do is we would line up around this side. We'd always line up around here. And you come around this corner, walk all the way around out into the pitch. So this is where all the fans would sit. You could probably fit about 2,000 people. We'd rarely get 2,000, we'd probably average more around 1,000 people. But if it was homecoming or a really big match or something, sometimes it would fill out and it was an incredible atmosphere. And people always bang, like stomp on this, and it's such a loud noise, it's so good. And honestly, for a British player coming out here, you don't get these kind of experiences in England, especially when you're playing non-league or semi-pro. You might get a couple hundred people max, and you just don't get this kind of atmosphere. They love their sports out here in America, so really cool. And the facilities were incredible, like the gym, state of the art. We have a trainer and everything, so we got to have a physiotherapist, so if we needed sports massage or any treatment or things like that, we could go there, we could get ice baths. You can get like ultrasound if you've got any muscle injuries or anything like that, heat wraps, you name it. So it's a really great place if you want that full pro experience. College is honestly a great representation of that. But yeah, so many good memories out on this pitch. It's so nostalgic right now, I can't even describe it. I think one of my favorite memories is when my parents came out in my sophomore year, so 2013. They came out here and I think they sat right around here, to be honest. It was a big game. I remember I scored in the first 3 minutes. It was a homecoming match as well, so it was completely packed out. I was down here. I remember the goal exactly. I remember it like it was yesterday. So I was down here, the ball was thrown in, and I went to close it down, and the guy kicked the ball in my face. And you know when you get hit in the face and you get like adrenaline rush, it just kind of took over. And I remember I got the ball at my feet, I knocked it by a guy, went really tight down the end line, like the goal line, really tight angle, took on another guy, and then put it through the goalkeeper's legs. And I remember everyone crazy, like all the players came over and jumped on me. It was sweet. That was one of my favorite moments, honestly. So time flies. You really need to make the most of every opportunity because it is gone in a split second. 8 years since I came out to America, and it's been 4 years since I played on this pitch. And even so much has happened in between playing here and sitting here now 4 years later. I've been out to Australia to play, I've been to the Philippines, but I think what has really always been important to me and what has helped me stay on track and get these opportunities is always be very goal oriented, so really setting goals. And the best part about goal setting is personal to you. Whatever your goal is, that's what you want to achieve. You don't need to compare it with somebody else's goals, you don't need to share it with anyone else either. You just need to stay on your own path and get towards your own goals because you know that's going to be fulfilling for you. So you don't have to have these incredible lofty goals in comparison to what the world says you should be doing. So if you're trying to be a footballer, you don't have to go for the Premier League, you don't have to go try and find a team that plays in the Champions League or play for your national team or something like that. You know what works for you, whether that's you want to start on your high school team next year, whether you want to play in college, whether you want to play semi-pro. You know what you want to achieve and you don't need anybody else to tell you that's a small goal. And what I found as well through my own experience, it's not even the goal itself that you end up cherishing the most. It's really is the journey, and I know that's so cliche to say, but the journey itself is where you grow so much, is where you learn so much about yourself, what makes you happy, what doesn't make you happy. And that's where you really learn who you are and what kind of person you are and what you want to do with your life. But I hope 2018 was an amazing year for you. I hope you smashed all the goals that you wanted to achieve, and if you didn't, it's fine as long as you were working towards them and you got 2019 to go again. But thank you guys for all your continued support through this year. It's been an incredible one. I'm so excited for 2019, a lot of bigger and better things to come. And make sure you're keeping your eyes out for that program coming early January 2019. It's going to be an absolute banger. I can't wait to share it with you guys. But if you did enjoy this video, make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button for weekly training videos, and I will see you guys in my next video.